I think if Wallabies can go 100% at set piece time on their own ball and then look to really disrupt All Black set piece, they could definitely go a long way in getting their hands on the Bledisloe Cup again. But on the other hand, you're looking at the Eden Park record. You're looking at the record that is the Wallabies haven't lifted the Bledisloe Cup in 22 years. 2002 was the last time the Wallabies had the Bledisloe Cup. Can this Joe Schmidt squad do that? Or is it just going to be another year of maybe next year? It is a tough ask. And you've got to start thinking that the psychological battle is maybe a little bit more than the physical battle out on the field. This Wallabies team that is playing, or the way they're playing right now, how they've shown that they can fight and come back in games, or how they can just stay in games regardless of what the score is going into halftime or in the first 20 minutes or even at the 40, 50 minute mark. This Wallabies team can still stay in the fight. And what we've seen on the contrary with the All Blacks team is if you can penetrate their set piece, disrupt their set piece, it will go a long way in beating them. The Springboks have shown that. So I've drawn up here, or I've gone through a little bit of the stats. Stats brought to you by All Things Rugby. Check out their rugby app. And my big kind of focus point would be for the Wallabies now to beat All Blacks would be to attack their set piece. Okay, so set piece for the Wallabies in the Rugby Championship this year, at scrums, they're 100%. Every time they have a scrum, they win their ball, 100%. That is a great stat to have. Line out time, 86%. Okay, that's throughout the 4 games that have been played. Looking at the All Blacks, for scrums, 90% scrums. So not bad. Out of 10 scrums, they're winning 9. Not bad. Lineouts, 81.75%. Also it's a pass mark. It's definitely a pass mark, but probably something that they would want to have closer to that 90% area. Also something that the Springboks show can be a weak point in this All Blacks team, especially the line-out time. So scrums, yes, you can say scrums, they got targeted more in the Eden Park test, but in the Wellington test, All Blacks were 100% at scrum time. It was the lineouts that suffered, 69%. Lineouts set piece is such an important part of the game. It's such an important part, especially for the All Blacks. They set up so many of their moves, and their attacking platform is set up off lineout, especially lineouts. Going into watch the French tests that they played earlier this year, pretty like 90% of their tries were from lineouts. That first game versus Argentina, I think all of their tries were off the back of lineouts, whether that's a maul, Tokiaho scored a couple more tries, whether it's they set the maul, but then play out wide and Sevu re-scores in the corner. If you can take that away from them, so when they're throwing the ball in, you're either disrupting it there, or you're just nullifying their maul, or you're just taking them off their game at line-out time, it can go a long way in disrupting their whole style of play, their whole pattern. Okay, so and again, this is a lot easier said than done. Okay, I'm just over here saying like this is how they should do it. You go out onto the game and it's still a Bledisloe Cup game, a game that the Wallabies haven't won the Bledisloe Cup in that long. It definitely plays on their minds as well. And All Blacks are coming off the back of a heavy defeat. The scariest time to play against the All Blacks is after a big defeat, because big defeats don't come back to back against the All Blacks. Let's be honest, okay? The other thing where this is I'm more talking from a point of wanting the Wallabies to win only because they haven't won in a long time, okay? So I'm only looking at points at how the Wallabies can attack this game to then try and beat the All Blacks. I think if Wallabies can stay within 10 to 15 points up until that last 30 minutes, they are still within a fight. They've shown throughout this rugby championship that regardless of what the score is, going into halftime or even 10 minutes into the second half, they can come back, pile on a ton of points and come back and win. That first game versus the Springboks were 20-something points ahead at halftime. Wallabies ended up winning that game. You fast forward to the first game versus Los Pumas. Los Pumas were ahead by a big margin. Wallabies fought back and won that game. The second test versus Los Pumas, yes, the Wallabies didn't win that one, but they put on 3 or 4 tries in that last 15 to 20 minutes. This is also an area of the game that the All Blacks really struggle in. They struggle that last 20, that last half an hour. They really, really do. Even in the Eden Park test, Springboks outscored them in that last 20, 15, 30 minutes. It's an area of the game that they really, really do struggle in. They're good starters. They come out the blocks firing. But that last 20 minutes, and it has been for a while now, that they've really struggled in. And it's something that the Wallabies, that's their best part of the game. But it's how they hold on at that start. And while I'm saying that, I'm like, they weren't holding on. Wallabies weren't holding on at all versus the Springboks in that first game. But they still found a way to win the game. So I think for the Wallabies, it's disrupting All Blacks' set piece, winning your own, obviously, but disrupting their set piece massively and staying within that 10, 15 point margin up until that last 10, I'd say 15, 20 minutes, and Wallabies still have a chance to win it. It's still at Eden Park where All Blacks don't lose. It is the Bledisloe Cup on the line where Wallabies just can't win it. But records are there to be broken. And if any team can do it, this Wallabies team under Joe Schmidt can do it. Let's be honest. All Blacks are there for the taking. But again, like I said, you don't want to be facing the All Blacks the game after their biggest defeat. Or after a defeat at all. Because they're a scary outfit then. What do you guys think? All Blacks fans, Wallabies fans, how do you see this one playing out? Give me your predictions in the comments. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next time. Bye.